Hi everyone, Carter Krishna here from the Pavilion on Beyond the Boundary and Beyond the 90 with your World Cup Daily. A little different recording setup today, so don't mind the background. A little different than we've done on previous days. We are brought to you each and every day by the Boca Raton Tribune, your closest neighbor in South Florida. BocaRatonTribune.com, best cricket coverage in South Florida, best hyper-local news coverage in South Florida, best soccer coverage in South Florida, whatever you're looking for locally in Palm Beach and Broward counties, we have it at the Boca Raton Tribune. So, a historic day in the T20 World Cup as Nepal have gotten their first ever points in an ICC event with a 7-wicket victory with 4 balls remaining at the Vakande in Mumbai. Nepali supporters were brilliant. They took over the ground. They took over the town, from what I understand. They actually kind of louder than India supporters, even at that hallowed ground in this sport. 171/3, really nice flow of runs late in the match. Great partnership. And the winning runs came on a boundary that appeared to only be a brace at the time. But upon review, the Scottish fielder had it was a boundary. So incredible performance, a half century for Dipendra Singh Arya. Will put himself in the history of his nation, not just in the sporting history of his nation, but in the history of his nation. We know the development of cricket in Nepal has been so important to the national identity in that country, and the success that they're achieving in this sport is remarkable for a country of their size and their resources, but also has become a big source of national pride. So congratulations to Nepal on their first ever win in this World Cup. New Zealand with a routine victory over a really poor Canadian side, a Canadian side that qualified for this World Cup because the United States had qualified automatically by being in the Super 8s of the previous World Cup, so they didn't have to face the U.S. in qualifying. So as it stands now, New Zealand on 6 points, they go through to the Super 8s. South Africa go through to the Super 8s from Group D. Now in Group C, Italy and Nepal, we talked about Nepal. They get 2 points. Italy got 2 points by beating Nepal. Scotland got 2 points by with their win over Italy. So you have 3 sides on 2 points. England and the West Indies have advanced. The West Indies advanced even before their match against Italy, which is now a dead rubber. Italy so close against England. Played so well in that match, and they have an opportunity to finish third in this group if they go through. Ireland and Zimbabwe, a washout in Sri Lanka, which is something to be concerned about if you're a U.S. supporter for the Namibia-Pakistan match tomorrow. We'll get to that in a minute. But Ireland, Zimbabwe, there's a washout. Zimbabwe advances to the Super 8s. They cannot be caught now, which means Australia is eliminated from the tournament. That is a huge deal, even before their match against Oman, where they're going to be able to pad their run rate. They're going to beat Oman quite easily. I was at a dead rubber in the last World Cup when Pakistan had been eliminated. Similar circumstance, Ireland-U.S. match had been washed out the previous day or 2 days earlier. So Pakistan played Ireland in what was a dead rubber because the U.S. had already advanced. And it was spirited cricket from Pakistan in that match. So let's see how Australia performs. Steve Smith apparently might be back for Australia. We'll see. Obviously, not having Cummins and Hazelwood really affected them in this tournament, but I think there's more to it than that. Group A, big match tomorrow is, of course, Namibia and Pakistan. Namibia, one of the worst teams in this tournament. But if they want to salvage something from this tournament, if the match isn't a washout, and I have to mention last World Cup, Namibia played England in the last match of the World Cup, and England needed the points to jump Scotland in the table and advance to the Super 8s, and they got the points against Namibia in a reduced overs match. So that's a potential also. Pakistan, their run rate is well below the United States is. The United States will end up with a positive net run rate. in this tournament. So if Pakistan does not win this match, if they lose, actually, I shouldn't say does not win this match, because if there's a no result, then they're going to advance. They're going to have 5 points. But if they lose this match, there is no way they can catch, because just by nature of losing, you cannot catch the United States on run rate. So that is the big match tomorrow, with the implications in terms of what is going to happen in terms of sides advancing. You also have a match in Delhi tomorrow, South Africa and UAE. Really nothing on the line there. South Africa already through. And South Africa aside, that I think he has the ability now to maybe kind of rest some guys before the Super 8s. We talked about Namibia, Pakistan, India, Netherlands, nothing at stake there. India has won the group. They will end up with a positive net run rate far above Pakistan if Pakistan wins their match against Namibia. And as we said, if Pakistan loses, the U.S. run rate is higher than Pakistan's, and they will advance. So nothing really on the line there. India, the question is what sort of performance do they give? Are they going to look to score big in this match? They haven't scored more than 209 in this tournament, and so this match is the primetime match, Indian Standard Time, early morning match here for us watching in the States. In Ahmedabad, India has a chance to really put up a big number against the Dutch, who got bludgeoned in their last match by the Americans. Right, the U.S. As I said, the most decisive win, the biggest win in terms of just scale and style of the win in the modern cricketing history of the United States was that World Cup match in Chennai last week when the U.S. beat the Netherlands. So that's your update for today. I wanted to say a quick word about the United States and the development of the sport in this country, because I'm finding as we go through this tournament, more and more people are expressing interest in cricket to me, wanting to know more about it. And I think the U.S. winning a few matches in the tournament, and maybe also giving India the toughest match India has had in this tournament, quite possibly the toughest match India will have in this tournament before the semifinal stage or the final stage, has gotten a lot of people interested. So why is cricket growing in the United States? I think there are a couple of factors here. Firstly, there's more access to it in terms of information than ever before. I saw this when I worked in the sport of soccer, football, if you want to call it that there was not much information available in the United States in the 1990s, even though the U.S. had a national team that was qualifying for the Men's World Cup regularly, and a national team that won the Women's World Cup twice in the 1990s. Then information began to develop. There began to be interest in local clubs. There began to be interest in the grassroots game. It grew from there. And more information about the competitions from Europe became available. What I'm finding now in the United States in cricket is there's more information available from international competitions in cricket. I couldn't follow the sport for many years myself here in the States, and sort of let go of it as a sport I was interested in. I'll be perfectly honest with you about that. Because you couldn't get information here, you couldn't see matches here, you couldn't even get results here. You didn't know what was happening in the Ashes. You didn't know what was happening unless once websites from English papers became available here in the late 90s, the Telegraph, the Guardian. You were able to kind of track some of what was going on in the cricket world, but it was still very, very sparse. We've had a huge influx of immigrants from the Indian subcontinent in this country, and also a lot of wealth attached to that immigrant group. Indian Americans are the wealthiest group per capita in this country. So there's been a lot of investment in grassroots cricket. There's been a lot of investment in cricket academies. There's been a lot of investment in Major League Cricket, which has emerged as a very good T20 league. Now, this also might explain why the U.S. is much more competitive at the T20 level than we've been at the one-day level, or the test level is not even relevant here, and it's not a format that will ever gain acceptance in the United States, in my opinion, as someone who has spent half my lifetime trying to market soccer, a sport that many Americans considered foreign and boring, but at least it was a shorter game, right? So the T20 form of cricket has gained acceptance in the United States. There is an acknowledgement among people who are sports fans in general about the strength of the IPL product, the T20 product. They know that league. They know some of the clubs. They know some of the stars. They know the Pat Cummins of the world. They know the Hazelwoods of the world. They know the Kohlis, the Sharmas, the Bumrahs, the Joss Butlers, Phil Salt, Harry Brook. These are all names now kind of known in the United States. When no cricketer was known in the United States 15 years ago outside of I think Imran Khan's name was known because of his relationship at one time with Princess Diana. Maybe Tendulkar. Maybe. That's a maybe. There was no knowledge of kind of these strong, big name international cricketers. Now, their names have emerged more because of the T20 game than than actually the international game. I was talking to someone the other day about Jofra Archer, and I said, yeah, hasn't he been brilliant when England has won the one-day World Cup and won the T20 World Cup? No knowledge of that. Said, oh, I saw him bowl in the IPL. Okay, so that's where some of the knowledge comes from. And then I think you have a first generation of Indian American, and even now second generation born Indian Americans. I was born in the United States. I've lived my entire life in the United States. I'm in my 50s now, and we've raised my wife and I have raised our niece, but we don't have any children. But my cousins all have kids, and a lot of their kids aren't playing cricket, but there are enough Indian Americans playing cricket. That's where you get players like Mukamala and Sanjay Krishnamurthy. They are American-born and bred cricketers of Indian ethnicity or Indian origin, if you want to call it. Well, they're not of Indian origin. They were born in the United States, raised in the United States, but they are of Indian ethnicity. Then we've had an influx, and I don't want to get political here because people get kind of sensitive about this topic, but we have had an influx of white South Africans to the States, and a lot of them play cricket. And in fact, one of the standout stars in this particular World Cup for the United States has been Scadley Van Schalwick, who is a white South African who has been phenomenal and has been a phenomenal teammate and a phenomenal figure in cricket in this country. So happy to see him at 37 getting his opportunity to really stand out on the international stage. So you have players South Africa hasn't picked. Andres House is another one that have gravitated to the States to play cricket professionally who have become eligible for the United States. We have some players of Pakistani descent that moved to the United States. Cheyenne is a great example, a player that these last two matches has been phenomenal against the Netherlands and Namibia, the big U.S. wins. And then you also have a player, Ali Khan, that I call kind of, to me, the classic American cricketer, because he's been here a long, long time. Born in Karachi, but been here. He's been with, ever since we've had a relevant national team, Ali Khan has been part of that national team. And he's 35 now. I will be very sad when he retires. That's why I obviously carried on about his injury in the India match, but which I think may have cost us that match. But he is a guy that came here at a young age, has been playing cricket professionally in the States since he was in his early 20s and has been kind of the cornerstone of our national side. And then you have the Indians who have come here for work purposes. Netravalkar is a great example of that. And he has been celebrated in this country. I don't know. Now again, it's a controversial topic politically. There are a lot of people on the right politically in the United States who feel like, well, all these software jobs, all these things, they can be done by Americans coming out of American colleges also. Okay, maybe they can, maybe they can't. I don't know. I'm not here to judge that. But we have had a steady flow of people who come in, who go to college. Netravalkar was a first-class cricketer in India. Didn't work out, came here to go to Cornell, got a visa, started working at Oracle in Silicon Valley, and it is really interesting kind of the way this is working out, because Sanjay Krishnamurthy, who I mentioned earlier, is a student at San Jose State. He is going to have a lucrative career ahead of him in Silicon Valley or in the tech industry after he's done playing cricket. But he's such a good cricketer and has been of stature in Major League Cricket that there's a lot lot there. And in fact, I was reading where his roommate finally realized he was a big deal because he read about a match in Major League Cricket where Sanjay had hit a six off of Netravalkar, because a lot of Americans know who Netravalkar is simply because of his status. His story cut through the clutter. In terms of cricket not being a recognized sport in the United States. So wanted to talk about that. The U.S. might be out of this tournament at this time tomorrow because Pakistan would have gotten a result against Namibia, but it's been a great tournament for the U.S., and I think the U.S. has performed better in this World Cup than in the last, and expect the United States now with this platform and with Major League Cricket to continue to qualify for major tournaments and continue to be one of the leading lights in terms of associate nations in the sport. So we will be back to wrap up the matches of tomorrow and then start to look ahead to the Super 8 stage tomorrow with our World Cup T20 Daily. Thank you for watching.